Hey, how you doing? I'm Maneli Jamal, and today I want to go over a question that one of my students asked me. And it goes like this. There are many great guitarists who have no interest in teaching, or quite frankly, aren't very good teachers. You are a solo artist who has traveled the world sharing your music and writing and creating new music along the way. What is it about teaching students that inspires you? What was your main objective in creating the Fingerstyle Pro online course? Has teaching guitar made you a better player in any way? What is the most fun and exciting thing about teaching guitar? Have you had any great teachers who helped you to achieve your level of success with the guitar? Great teachers are rare, and you are a great teacher, so thought you could elaborate on what inspires you as a teacher. That's a really great question from Scott. And thank you for the kind comments as well. Really cool. And there's obviously like 10 questions in there, but I'll try to get through them. So you were talking about what is it about teaching that inspires me? Honestly, I am still a student. So what inspires me as a student of life is that the ability to acquire new knowledge to better yourself. And when I see my students trying to better themselves and coming to me for guidance, that is like the most heartwarming thing that anyone could ever ask for. If someone's coming to me for that sort of guidance, I mean, I'm gonna do my absolute best to give them everything I've got. All the knowledge that I've acquired over the years that I want to give to them. So that's a very important thing for me, and that inspires me like so much to continue to not only live life to its fullest potential, but also to give back as well. Because obviously with life, it's not just about receiving, it's about giving as well. So I'm just kind of at that point where I love to empower people. And so it's about giving back, and I love that. I love that idea of being able to help people along their journey. Because honestly, when I was starting to learn guitar, I didn't have anyone to kind of help me, to mentor me, to guide me into that. Because I wish that I had that growing up. And unfortunately, I didn't have someone to kind of teach me the ways of the guitar. I did have two parents who were very artistic and musical, but they didn't really know much about the guitar. So I kind of had to go through my own means to figure it out. And it was a really cool journey to do that. But it took a lot of willpower and a lot of determination, with just patience as well, and just sitting through exercises and trial and error. It's a lot of trial and error, and honestly, that is one of the ways towards like mastering something, but it is a very long route. I would obviously encourage everyone to get a mentor. Don't do the trial and error thing unless you absolutely have no resources to find a mentor to help you out on your journey. But that's one of the reasons I made Fingerstyle Pro, which is my online course. I made it so I could basically give everything that I've ever taught to other students. And through just years of teaching, I realized certain techniques, certain exercises were much better than others. So I had a lot of experience with kind of figuring out what works best in a teaching environment. And that's why I made the course. It's to give people that platform with one price as opposed to doing the mentorship, because the mentorship, one-on-one coaching and stuff like that, it's expensive, it's a luxury. So the one-time payment for the course just was my way of kind of giving back a little bit more. And I made sure that I wanted to over-deliver on the Fingerstyle Pro program, because it's a huge program and it could take you years to really get through it. And I wanted to make sure that I do that. I want to over-deliver, and I want to exceed the expectation of what a student is going to get when they're signing up for that. So has teaching made me a better player? 100%. And sometimes when I'm teaching, I break things down in a way that I haven't verbalized before for myself. So when I do that for someone, for like one of my students, it's a really cool aha moment for me as well, but for the student too. So it's a give and take kind of relationship, and it's really cool. It's really fun to kind of feel that. And plus, oftentimes after I teach, I'm picking up the guitar. I feel inspired to want to play guitar. That's one of the coolest things as well, is that when I am teaching, I feel like my bucket, my love bucket is filled, and like I'm ready to explore the guitar more. Sometimes I'll just come up with an exercise for my student on the spot, and that's always a lot of fun. I love being put on the spot like that and having breakthrough moments. And not just with the guitar, because a lot of it can also be correlated with life and morals and a lot of different things. It's a transferable knowledge, learning an instrument. You transfer that to other parts and other philosophies of life. And I'm a big advocate for that. And so what is the most fun and exciting thing about teaching? I think it is to have long-lasting relationships with the students, not just musically, but as friendships too. Because as some of my students know, like once we get into it, we get deeper and we get closer to the root of certain problems or certain issues. And sometimes we have these aha moments that is a story that we created in our lives that is actually bleeding into the guitar practice. And so the most exciting thing for me is that actually, it's to have like these breakthrough moments with students that aren't just technically, involved with the guitar, but they are much more holistic in that approach, that many aspects of life come together when we are going through certain things with the guitar or wanting to learn guitar, or the why, like why do we even want to learn guitar? And usually when you ask that enough times, you'll get to the bottom of something really big and profound for yourself. I know that when I ask myself that question, like why do I want to play guitar? Like what's the main thing? It's not just to share the music with other people or to impress people with the playing. Those are bonuses, but when you get down to the nitty-gritty, the deep side of it, it's about fulfillment. It's about finding purpose of life. And so when you can put that towards a craft and journal it through the instrument, that is just epically profound and so cool. And so, because I didn't really have a lot of teachers, I don't really know how other people teach. So I kind of just, again, learn through trial and error as far as what works and what doesn't work. And so maybe in a way that can be an advantage because you didn't have someone give you these guidelines as far as how to teach music. And I love to teach everything. I don't just like to teach guitar and music. Again, I like to have breakthroughs in a more coaching environment too. That's always fun. And so because of that, it enables me to maybe try out new ways of teaching that are unconventional from what universities are doing and more static. And I like to have a little bit more openness and more drive towards the students' needs, right? Because that's ultimately what matters the most. Not what I want to teach, but what they want to learn. And then I have to adapt myself to their learning style. And I always ask them if they're a visual learner, if they're an auditory, kinesthetic, what sort of learner are they? Because that's a very important thing to know about yourself. Do you work best with visual? Do you work best with audio? Those are very important questions that need to be asked. And whenever I do ask my students that, they usually no one's ever asked me that before. So I find that surprising. But again, I think it's just all the self-help, self-development books I've read have probably contributed to me being able to ask those sorts of questions that might not be directly related to learning guitar. Again, it's the holistic approach. I just love that approach to teaching anything, and especially guitar, because that's what I do most of. All right, hope that answers the question for you, Scott. Thanks so much for asking that. Appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.